right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show. Can you hear me good, Jake?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? My daily fight with the mic continues. All right, the Adam Carriker Show. We're going to have a whole lot of fun today. Got a whole lot of stuff to talk about. We have a new special teams freaking coordinator, a guy that's going to coordinate the teams that are supposed to be special. Hopefully we can be average, then maybe above average, then maybe we can be special one day. But there's legit hope and optimism. Mike Ekeler's our new special teams coach. Rocco Spindler chooses Nebraska. I mean, I got the whole list somewhere, but like Virginia, Indiana, I think Michigan at one point, obviously Nebraska had all these visits. It was back and forth. A lot of people thought initially he'd go to Michigan. Then Michigan kind of faded. Then it was Nebraska and Michigan. Then it was Nebraska, Virginia. Then he was a crystal ball to go to Virginia. And then it switches back to Nebraska. Let's be real. This probably turned into a bidding war. It is what it is. This is a guy over 402 pass protection snaps last year, gave up 0 sacks, 325 pounds. He's actually known for being a road grader. It's easier to not allow sacks as a guard, okay? Less space. Defensive tackles don't tend to get as many sacks. A lot of times the center is double teaming with you. So when I say these pretty impressive stats, I'm not trying to go over the top. The stats are what they are, but at the same time, you put everything in perspective. That's why the offensive tackles, they play in so much more space. That's why let's be honest, they are going to get $1 to $2 million. Not that the guards aren't important too. This was an important piece, something Nebraska needed. We'll dive into that more throughout the show as well. All right, Nebraska basketball. Like the Undertaker rising from a buried alive match, the hand comes out of the ground. Nebraska basketball is not dead. 6-game losing streak. No, not gonna. That didn't happen. That just never happened. As far as I'm concerned, we won the tournament in Hawaii, and we zoomed forward to February 1st and 2nd, where we just beat back-to-back top 25 teams, went into Eugene, beat the number 16 team in the country, 77-71, on one of the funniest-looking basketball courts I've ever seen. And I think that every time I see it, I'm not even trying to poke fun. I'm just like, it looks weird to me. But Oregon's very successful in all their sports, so all due respect to them. Nebraska basketball's back from the dead. Carriker's Trivia Challenge is going to be going on today as well. Also, got a special guest. You know, every once in a while, I'll see someone on social media, and I'll just send a random DM. Every once in a while, it hits. And this was one of those random DMs. And I hope I'm saying her name correctly because she's a part of the Big Ten Network, Fox Sports Network, Volleyball World, all right, ESPN as well. Emily Amon, I hope I'm saying that right. She's going to be joining us at 12:30 to talk all things volleyball. I love her Twitter bio. This is what she put. Washed up former volleyball player. That's humility. Turned broadcaster. That's humility. She was very, very good as a volleyball player. She's one of the best to analyze the game these days as well. That's going to be at 12:30. Whole lot to talk about. Oh, and something happened in NBA basketball. What was that? What was that guy's name and what team did he go to? I've never heard of him before, Jake. What happened there?
So Luka Doncic got traded, surprisingly, obviously about to hit the prime of his career. Just took his team to, Western Conference champion, just took him to the finals. And Dallas said that's enough because he's not conditioning himself too well. Or maybe, I mean, we still have yet to really kind of figure it out, but it was a shocking trade. Nobody necessarily saw it coming. And the bigger thing is that they didn't even shop Luka Doncic, who on the open market you would think would demand a crazy amount of draft picks. De'Aaron Fox just got, his package just got 3 draft picks, including one that could become the top pick this next year. And the Dallas Mavericks GM just decided, no, I'll just talk to my buddy over there with the Lakers. I want Anthony Davis, and that's who we're going to go get. Anthony Davis, good player when healthy, but he's got his own issues over the years of not being healthy. He did play almost all the games this last season, but definitely shocked the NBA world, and Twitter was trying to figure out if it was real or not. That's how uneven this trade appears to be.
So Anthony Davis, the Lakers win the bubble championship. A lot of people discredit that championship. It still happened. They still played games. Everyone had to deal with the same things. All right. I don't know why some people want to kind of discredit that. But they win that bubble championship, okay, which gives LeBron 4, right? 2 with the Heat. We'll get more into LeBron and NBA and the finals and everything down the road as the season goes along. But wins 2 in Miami. To me, when you put the number 1 and number 3 and number 5 draft picks from the same draft class all on one team, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, it doesn't have the same feel, especially when you all put it together. Okay, kind of like a video game team. But he goes to Cleveland. Him and Kyrie Irving coming back from 3-1 to that Golden State Warriors team. Down 3-1, came back and win. And Kyrie Irving hit the game-winning shot to clinch it in the last game, if you remember. But LeBron was the difference in that series. He took over that series. A lot of people give him a ton of credit for that. I think most people put more emphasis on that one NBA Finals championship than they do down in Miami. I'm probably one of those people myself, okay? The bubble championship mattered. To me, I bring it up because Anthony Davis, that's the last time I've seen him look like Anthony Davis. He's been hurt. He's been banged up. As Jake mentioned, he played a ton this year so far or recently, but just hasn't looked the same. So to trade, what do you think, Luka? Top 10 player, top 5 player in the NBA? Where would you put him?
Well, and that's where the question comes, is he was the leading scorer last year. So, I mean, There's that. He led his team to the Western Conference Championship into the finals. So, I mean, he's pretty much regarded as a top 3. If you're pushing it, top 5 player in the league. Now, he's not very good defensively. And that's what Dallas is GM was kind of saying, is if we think we're going to win a championship, we need people that can play defense, a two-way player. That's what they're going after Anthony Davis. But still, I mean, you got to consider him probably a top 5 player, at least in the league, even if you're factoring in defense.
I think that's fair. You know, when I think of top offensive players who don't play great defense, I mean, James Harden's one of the best in the world. He's a guy I think of.
Great comp. That's a comparison that I would go with
as well. And when you think about these guys, I mean, James Harden, he's won an MVP, been on very successful teams. Has he ever been to the finals, Jake?
He was with OKC with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook early
1 year, right? Wasn't he coming off the bench?
He was coming off the bench, yeah.
In other words, you got to play defense to win. That's what the Dallas Mavericks are saying. Luka can score, top 5, top 3 player in the world. It's funny, man. When I think about, I hear the shape, maybe not in the best shape, not playing defense. Do you remember, because I was there for this, I was in D.C. when there was so much drama. Albert Hainsworth, I got to tell stories about that guy one day. The whole RG3 thing, which I kind of went into with John Keim and Grant Paulson a little bit right before the Commanders played the Eagles. Not a ton, though. That was entertaining, to put it mildly. And my locker was like, it was London Fletcher, Robert, and then myself. Like all 3 of our lockers were right next to each other. So I was firsthand for everything, for all of that. I sat right next to Albert in meetings. Not my choice. But that's where I could have moved. But it would have been really awkward at that point. But Donovan, I love Donovan McNabb. I walked in the weight room the first day in D.C., and he was over there benching 315. I've never in my life seen a quarterback bench 315. And he was older at that time. Remember, he got traded for a second-round pick within the division, which is a bit of a slap in the face because that means that team isn't scared to face you twice in 1 year. The Eagles weren't scared to face Donovan twice in 1 year. So he was highly motivated. He was a fun dude to be around. Him and Shanahan were interesting together. Man, I got to get into these stories more as time goes along. So those 3 things right there have so many stories. But I'll never forget my first year in D.C., we're playing Detroit. And we end up losing. And we should have gone no huddle to end the game. You might remember this. I don't know, Jake. It was about 10 years ago. And Shanahan didn't do it. And we ended up losing because we didn't do the 2-minute offense when we should have. Or no huddle offense when we should have. And his answer at the podium was Donovan's, I'm not even making this up. I don't have the direct quote. I'm paraphrasing, but Donovan's not in good enough shape for us to go no huddle. And I was like, what just happened? Did he just say that publicly for everybody to hear? Do you remember that at all?
I do remember there being a big frustration with that.
First of all, you're the quarterback. I mean, yeah, Donovan would scramble, but he's not like Michael Vick or Jaden Daniels or Lamar Jackson. Like, he's more of a pocket guy that can move around and make plays if you want, especially at that point in his career. I was like, oh my goodness. First of all, you don't have to be in great shape as a quarterback to go no huddle. Number two, I actually thought Donovan was in fine shape. I've only seen one punter/kicker in my life bench 315, Sam Cook, and one quarterback in my life, Donovan. Now, Kurt Dukes, before he transferred, that dude was strong, but he wasn't quite at 315, but he was also 18 years old. He was going to be there within like 2 months, and then he ended up, I think, going to Duke. But to me, when I hear the not in shape and things of that nature, that was immediately what popped into my head. Something I probably haven't thought about in like half a decade to a decade, and a guy that I have a lot of respect for in Donovan McNabb. And I think that became more about ego than accuracy between those two all-time greats. Shanahan as a coach, Donovan as a quarterback. All right. We got anything off the text line? Ladies and gentlemen, you can always text in. As always, Jake will pop up with anything you got. Questions, thoughts, comments, concerns. If there's anything off the text line, let me know, Jake. But here's something I want to do. I want to start doing this every day. Is the full Carriker's Trivia Challenge. All right. Not just the call in, you automatically win. We'll bring you on air, ask you a trivia question for fun. Like now, you call in, $100 gift certificate to Automotive Solutions, 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln. All right, you call in, but you got to go head to head with yours truly. Have you changed that god-awful tiebreaker yet?
Oh, no.
I'm going to keep hammering you. I don't think you care. I'm being too nice. I don't think you care. I almost respect it. I do. I just don't like it. Care more. Care more. No, you do a great job. I just don't like the tiebreaker. Call this number. What's that number, Jake?
402-464-5685.
Jake will have 3 questions for you, 3 questions for me. If it's not resolved by then, we're going to do the worst tiebreaker under God's hot sun. And if you win, you get a $100 gift certificate to Automotive Solutions. So what happens if I win again? Because the people still win, because I play for the people. How does that work?
You play for the people, yeah. So then caller number 3 or caller number 1, if we really want to, can win.
After the trivia challenge is over. The next person to call in.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't have to come on air. They just win.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, what's that number, Jake?
402-464-5685.
First person to call in, we'll do Carriker's Trivia Challenge, $100 gift certificate to Automotive Solutions. All right, man. Mike Ekeler. You know what? I want to save Mike Ekeler for a little bit more time. I actually want to go Nebraska basketball. Did you watch the game last night?
Absolutely.
What'd you think of it, Jake?
Well, it's an interesting game. Obviously, Nebraska get their second big win in a row after losing 6 games in a row before that. But it's I'm always just fascinated about how narratives can be shifted because Oregon didn't shoot well again. And
how dare you point that out?
Well, it is what it is.
No, we won. That's all that matters.
So in these victories, it was big. But I think the biggest thing in that game specifically, other than Oregon not shooting well, is that Nebraska got out to a big hot start. Right, they had the lead. They were not chasing from behind throughout the game, as they have been so often in this kind of 6-game losing streak they had before this, and were able to win. And of course, a lot of it's always going to rely, if you're going to get a win, especially if you don't shoot well. Nebraska didn't shoot well from beyond the arc either. On Bryce Williams and Juwan Gary, and they showed out. But the role players, outside of them also, played pivotal roles. Especially, I thought some of the reaction for guys, coming off the bench played well, and then Sam Hoiberg's playing as many minutes as anybody.
I love that guy. Real quick, I want to come back to Nebraska volleyball conversation. We got Austin is on the line. Are you ready with questions? I kind of reminded you last minute we were doing this today. Do you have questions prepared and ready?
I do have questions.
Awesome. All right, Austin, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Dude, I am glorious. It's a Monday, my 5th favorite day of the week, but every day that I get to be here is my most favorite day of the week. All right, go ahead, Jake. What do you got?
All right, let's get some game show music going so we can get into this thing. We're going to start off with you, Austin, here. Austin, this is just generally about the weekend in events here. So let's start with this. In 2011, Mike Ekeler left Nebraska staff to become co-defensive coordinator at this university. Was it Indiana or was it Kansas State?
Kansas State.
It was actually Indiana. He did
that
play
was a tricky one.
He did play at Kansas State, so I went out there to trick you there. All right, let's go to question number 2. Rocco Spindler, of course, who committed to Nebraska, played his high school ball in this state. Was it Michigan or Illinois? You can't Google.
This is way too long of a pause. Stop Googling. What is going on?
Are you Googling, Austin?
Is he there?
We might have lost Austin.
That's right. He's 0-1. Hey, where's Rico? Bring Rico in here. He can fill in. You're down 0-1, Rico.
Austin. Yeah, I don't think Austin's
I think
there.
Austin's gone.
Huh, well, that's the first time in a game show history.
Never had that happen before. He went down 0-1 and he gave up. At least like go down 0-3 before you give up or something.
Well, I don't know. Did you win?
I don't know how that works.
We get Rico come in here and
Is Rico in there?
fight on Austin's behalf. He is in there.
Rico's scared. He doesn't want to face. Doesn't want to face us. Come join us. Our caller dropped. We need a replacement, Rico. He got intimidated. He went down 0-1. You've got to fill in for him. All right, Rico. Question number 2.
It's okay. I'll crush out.
Oh, the humility shines through.
I got this. What is happening?
All right. Yeah. So we're on question number 2. Should he get a chance at question number 1 or
Nope.
is he out? Okay.
No,
No,
he
okay.
came in
Did
talking
he-
trash. There's no forgiveness.
Did he get it right?
You got it wrong.
Nah.
You're down 0-1.
Yeah, you're
Whatever.
off to a tough start.
Don't
here.
need it.
All right. Rocco Spindler played his high school ball in this state. Was it Michigan or Illinois?
Michigan.
That was way too easy.
It was Michigan.
All right,
There you
go ahead.
There's one.
1-1.
Luka won the scoring title last season. Who was second? Was it Kevin Durant or Giannis Antetokounmpo?
It was Kevin Durant.
It was Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Dang it.
So 1 point there.
All
From,
right, here we go. Here we
Rico
go.
filling in
I would have
for
had
Austin.
to, but it's fine.
That's all right.
Yeah. All right, Adam, we'll get over to you. Before Tennessee, Mike Eckler's most recent special teams coordinator position, was it at Kansas or North Texas?
I don't remember him ever being a. You know what? I'm going to go with Kansas.
It was North Texas.
It was North Texas. He was at
I
Kansas
did
in
not know the answer to that.
2019, North
Okay.
Texas in 2020. So there you go.
Steal?
That's all right. We're even now.
No,
Here we go.
no stealing. Rocco Spindler's father, Mark Spindler, was a second-team All-American in 1989. Did he play at Pittsburgh or West Virginia?
West Virginia.
He played at Pitt. You stop stealing over there. You don't get points for stealing. All right. You need this one, Adam. Here
I
we go.
know. Goodness gracious. Or we go to your awful tiebreaker.
In 2012, Anthony Davis led Kentucky to a national championship. Who was the team's second leading scorer behind Anthony Davis? Was it Michael Kidd-Gilchrist or Deron Lamb?
John Wall popped into my head, but that's obviously not an option. That was a different year, apparently. Repeat those two names.
Michael Kidd-Gilchrist or Deron Lamb?
I'm going to go with Deron Lamb.
You are correct. We get to go to the awful tiebreaker.
Hey, I get the benefit this time. It's always against me. It goes against him.
I would have said Michael kicked yours. I would have got that wrong.
So we're going to go above or below. Myles Garrett has requested a trade today.
Mhm.
Throughout his 8-year career, what is his sack total? 8 years.
Who are you asking?
I'm
Yeah,
asking
who is
you.
it?
I'm
Okay.
asking Adam.
8 years.
You got to set
8 years, yep. So you put a number out, and then Rico will go above or below. 8 years of Myles Garrett. How many sacks does he have?
Let me see. I'm going to go with, I'm going to put the number at 80.
Over.
That would be an average of 10 a year.
It is over 102.5.
Oh, wow.
I knew that.
He's a
Rico
better
comes
player
in
than I
here.
realized.
I knew
he
that
was. I knew he was a stud.
7
Good
years
job,
straight
Rico.
in double digits.
All right, dude. Way to step in.
All right.
All right. I'm 8-3-1 now.
Yep.
8-3-1.
Victory!
Almost eliminated from the college football playoffs, but I'm in the SEC, so I get the benefit of the doubt, or at least I believe so. All right.
So even though you did not win, we still have to have somebody win, right? We still play for the people.
Yeah, so just
somebody
be the
call
next caller in,
Yeah.
and you will win. All right. If you call in and you miss a question and give up, you don't win anything. But if you're the next caller in, you can win a $100 gift certificate to Automotive Solutions 2040 Southwest 5th Street here in Lincoln. All right, back to basketball. All right, did you have a final thought on that real quick or not?
No, just 402-464-5685 to call in and claim your prize. The first person to do so. Yeah.
All right, so Nebraska basketball gets their 4th ranked win of the season, the most since 1998-99. The 4 teams that they have beaten, Illinois and Oregon, now in back-to-back games. All right, and they also beat UCLA and Creighton earlier this year. So that's not just 4 ranked wins. That's 2 teams in the top 15 at the time we played them, and 2 teams actually in the top 8, top 18, because Illinois was 18 and Oregon was 16. So those are some pretty good wins there. You look at the remaining schedule. This was the most difficult part of their schedule. Coming down the stretch, you go to Washington, Ohio State, Maryland, Northwestern, Penn State, Michigan, Minnesota, Ohio State, and Iowa. Man, that Iowa game, I'm telling you right now, that 15-point lead that we blew that started the 6-game losing streak, that has to stick with those guys. Beyond the fact that it's Iowa and we are such good buddies, they're coming to Pinnacle Bank Arena to close out the regular season. And that place is going to be rocking. I can't wait for that game. But you look at the road games, Nebraska's road games remaining this season. All right. Those teams have records of league records in the Big Ten, I should say. 2-8, 3-8, 3-8, and 5-6. So they're all below 500. Although I don't know. I almost feel like we just want to play ranked teams. We tend to do better versus ranked teams. Other than, Wisconsin? Every team we lost to in that 6-game losing streak was not ranked. All right, so we head up to Seattle. Alaska Airlines Arena is our next game. Then Ohio State is at home. Maryland at home. Northwestern, Penn State on the road. Michigan at home. Minnesota at home. On the road to Columbus. Finish with Iowa. Nebraska basketball, 14-8. I remember discussing this several times last year, like the magic win total was like 22 to get into the tournament. So that means we'd have to win 8 games. We got 9 remaining, but you also got the Big Ten tournament. So you got to win at least 1 game in the Big Ten tournament. So we'd have to finish the season. Man. So 9 regular season games. You win 1 Big Ten tournament game. Let's say you lose the next one. Who knows what happens? You lose the next 11. We'd have to finish the season 8-3. Do you think we can do that to get into the tournament, Jake?
I think that we can. But
how about,
again,
not can. Let me rephrase that. Anybody can. Will we? Will we? That's the question.
No, that's harder to answer.
That's
right?
why I changed it, man. What do you got?
Again, like you said, the tough part of the schedule is now a little bit behind them. There's still opportunities for quad 1 wins. 8-3 is just that's a big ask. But remember, this team had the best non-con. You take out that 6-game losing streak, they've had probably the best season in regular season Nebraska basketball history. So yeah, they can do it. But it's just they're gonna have to shoot better, and they're gonna have to hope that teams don't shoot as poorly against them. Again, I'm not completely convinced this team is fixed because it's won a couple games. I'm not completely convinced they were broken to begin with because they lost 6 games and many of them by just a few possessions. But it's certainly they can put it together, but it's a big ask.
No, I don't think they're completely fixed either. That'd be crazy. Losing 6 straight games like that. You never know what'll happen. This is what I love about college sports. It's so up and down. It's young men. It's unpredictable. And they're not the same players from game to game to game, even though it's the same person, same face, same jersey. These are young human beings. And it's darn near impossible to be at 100% each and every day. So the question is your team as a collective whole at 90%, 95%, 75%? What about the team you're playing? They may be taller, faster. They may not be as athletic. They may be slower. They may be whatever. But hey, are they running at 98 and you're running at 72? Those things happen. That's why sports and chaos and upsets and Cinderellas in March and things of that nature can happen. So to me, it's going to be an exciting stretch run down the rest of the season. Here's what's interesting to me. I looked at the stats here. So field goal shooting percentage-wise, we outshot the Ducks, 51 to 40%. All right, but you look at the three-point shooting percentage, 4-23. I mean, we just struggled for us. 17.4, they made 25% of theirs. Free throw shooting percentage, they outshot us by almost 10 points. 82% to 72. Actually, it is 10 points if you round. And for me, when you go on the road and you're struggling to shoot and you're struggling to make shots and you still find a way to win against a good team, to me, that says more than just about anything else. You got to find a way to win ugly because when you're running at 98, 99, 100%, anybody can have success then. It's the days you're struggling. It's the day you get out of bed and you don't want to go to work except you're a college student athlete. You go to class and now you're going to play a game against somebody else who's practicing, getting paid now, okay, and doing all the things you're doing. And they might be at a higher RPM that particular day based on how their human being motor is running. So to me, it's the days when you're struggling to put the ball in the hoop. You go on the road, you play a ranked team, you find a way to win. That means more to me than most things would. When these really good college football teams go on the road, and they have close games or they struggle to beat a team they're clearly better than, that's what's going on. And the good teams, the championship caliber teams, find ways to win the games when it's an ugly day. Now, I don't know there was an ugly day versus Oregon, okay? They just got outshot, Nebraska did, on the road against a good team and found a way to win. And I love Sam Hoiberg. Like, he just might be my favorite player on that team. I know we got to go to commercial break here. Couple final thoughts. Bryce Williams, Juwan Gary had a combined 51 points. All right. You break it down a little bit more. Lost my screenshot here. I believe, all right. I did lose it. That's right. I'll look for it during the commercial break and I'll find it. But if you break it down a little bit more, all right, I thought Gary and Williams individually played really, really well, but they actually did a good job of elevating their teammates around them as well. Okay. So Gary had 27 points. Williams had 24, based on what I can see here. All right. Connor Essegian, we got to get more out of him off the bench too. That'd be another thing that would help the team. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake. Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with the child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Landmark Implement, your John Deere dealer, invites you to their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney on February 5th and 6th. This hands-on event offers expert training on John Deere and Hagee sprayers, covering topics such as machine maintenance, spray tip selection, and exact apply technology. New this year, classes on autonomy preparation, see and spray, and variable rate operation. Don't miss this opportunity, February 5th and 6th in Kearney. Learn more at landmarkimp.com/events.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies, and it will be breezy. Falling temperatures throughout the day, a high near 41. Tonight, partly cloudy and breezy, below near 20. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly cloudy skies and a light breeze, high near 35. Meteorologist Kyle Click for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
February is American Heart Month, the perfect time to focus on your health. Even a small change can make a big impact on your heart health. Try adding a vegetable to your dinner or a no-salt seasoning. Looking for support in making these small changes? Join a healthy living program to learn about healthy lifestyle changes with a supportive and encouraging group. Search Chronic Disease Nebraska for more information. Paid for by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Early break. Joe says, Kevin says, the old days were absolutely not better times. Lots of hardships. Life in 2025 is better than ever.
Oh, I love when we get these jokes back. I love
Good joke. Good
I love
one.
the joke. You're a good one.
Good one, Kevin.
You're hilarious, Kevin. You keep it up.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known, but what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Stop asking your friends if they're hosting a party this Sunday and come for the real party instead. Join 93.7 The Ticket for the big game at Wings and Rings at 68th and O this Sunday and walk away with great prizes just for showing up. Why worry about making a great spread of food for the game at your house when you can enjoy all the great wings and more at Wings and Rings? It's the big game party with 93.7 The Ticket at Wings and Rings this Sunday at 68th and O. Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Hey volleybalfans, this is Laura Dijkema, national player of the Netherlands and now the setter on Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering for us in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show. Segment 2 of the Adam Carriker Show on The Ticket is sponsored by our good friends at Mulberry Barbecue at 11th and Cornhusker, open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Try their burn-in sandwich, a brisket burrito, barbecue nachos, and a full slab of ribs. A half-smoked chicken and much, much more, plus incredible sides. Get fueled for lunch today or make dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, located at 11th and Cornhusker. All right, so we will get to Mike EKELER, the hot news, the new special teams coordinator here at Nebraska. First, I want to chat a little bit about Rocco Spindler. All right, Rocco Spindler chooses Nebraska. All right, here's what he said, and I quote, "He felt it was the best opportunity to develop and win." Well, that's what his dad said, okay? Mark Spindler, a former NFL D lineman. All right. Seems excited about what Nebraska has to offer, things of that nature. You know, it felt to me when you're competing with schools like Virginia and things of that nature, and you're going back and forth, I have no doubt he wants to be developed. He wants a chance to win. I do believe NIL played a part in this as well. With all due respect to Virginia, they're not a team that's in those national championship conversations typically year after year. Nebraska has been in the past trying to get back into it. And I do think people out of this state can be convinced that Nebraska can get back in those conversations as well, especially with what Matt Rule is doing. We're going to dive into number 1 Big Ten transfer portal class, number 5 transfer portal class in the entire country. Potentially a trio of coordinators that could be top 15 in America. Got to be towards the top in the Big Ten. You think about Ohio State, they just lost Jim Knowles. He's now the highest. Is he the highest paid defensive coordinator in college football now? Over $3 million at Penn State? For me, I'm like, Penn State, you're already really, really good on defense, but they brought in Kansas's, okay, Kotelnicki, offensive coordinator last year, so they wanted to upgrade their defense even more. And if we're being honest, what Ohio State did last year, they brought in head coaches to be their coordinators. Chip Kelly to run the offense, who's now at the Raiders, okay, and Jim Knowles to run the defense. And if you looked at Notre Dame's coordinators as well, now they've lost some of their guys as well. They lost their GM, okay, which is, I'm still getting used to college football teams having GMs, but it is a necessity, right, to have a GM in college football the way it is nowadays. But the coordinators on both sides of that national championship game are amongst the best in the country. Ohio State now, though, all right, with Kelly being gone, Knowles, a former head coach, just like Jim Kelly, being gone, or Chip Kelly, I'm sorry, being gone. Now they got to replace those guys. I think Ohio State's going to be okay, but you look at Nebraska. Talking about EKELER, talking about Holgorsen, and talking about Butler. We'll dive into more of those guys probably in the next segment or at the top of the hour at noon. But if I'm Rocco, I'm looking and I'm thinking, man, they've made a lot of changes. They brought in a lot of talented dudes. They need O-linemen. There's lots of play time to be had and earned. I'm going to emphasize that E word, earned. Obviously, he's coming here for a reason. He's getting paid NIL for a reason. I do think there was a bit of a bidding war involved in this as well. Because with all due respect to Virginia and things of that nature, you're probably not looking at Virginia just for development and winning championships. There had to be NIL involved there as well. But you look at Nebraska, there is legit reason for optimism. There hasn't been consistent proof on the field. And that's been the frustration, the nauseum, et cetera, for Husker fans for 9 years now. You could argue a little bit longer, depending on how you want to look at it and how far you want to go back. If I'm Rocco Spindler, I see experienced quarterback. We know who the running back is. Talent everywhere on the edges. Okay, the skill positions. You look at the defense. Still, who's going to step up on that defensive line? Our second level linebackers, when you look at Vincent Shavers and Marquez Watson-Trent and Willis McGahee and Dawson McCullough, who's going to be rushing the quarterback. When Matt Rule talked about that on Saturday at his press conference, he was going to use Dawson McCullough as a pass rusher, I popped. Like a wrestling fan, when Stone Cold used to come out, the glass would shatter. Psh, everyone goes crazy. I popped when I heard that because that's what I was hoping he would say. Okay, Williams and Wari on one edge with a lot of talent. Got to earn the spot and play time. You got Dawson McCullough on the other edge. He was all Big Ten as a freshman. Right, a freshman All-American. Led Indiana when he was on that team in sacks. I think he was tied for the team lead in sacks. Now, it wasn't like 15 sacks. I believe it was 4 or 5. But as a true freshman, being tied and leading your team for sacks, it's not that bad. So to me, our second level, and then you look at the back end, we got a ton of returning starters. And yes, that's where we struggled last year, was in the pass defense and covering guys and frankly, leaving guys wide open. I remember Illinois. I remember the drop touchdown by Rutgers. All he had to do was catch it and fall in his face. He'd have been in the end zone, but he dropped it. Okay, and other things that happened throughout the year. I still am a firm believer that was coaches within the building not being on the same page. And the coaches within that building now are going to be more on the same page. If you remember back to one of Matt Rule's first press conferences, all right, after Tony White, Knighton, all of them were gone, he talked a lot about coverages and certain things he wants to run and NFL-style coverages. Sometimes connecting dots is easier than one might think. Well, John Butler's an NFL guy, was in the NFL for 20 years. I want to run NFL coverages, wants to change the coverages. In other words, if I didn't know what I knew from people who've told me things inside the building, I could just look at that and say, maybe they weren't on the same page last year. And then you start to connect everything, and it's like, you know what? There's going to be more harmony on the defensive calls, especially in pass coverages this year in the defensive secondary. Do we play better? Well, we'll see. I hope so. I barely even talked about Rocco. I've just gone on this whole diatribe of everything else. But I look at Rocco because talking about being developed, that's what Matt Rule wants to do. Talk about having a chance to win games. Nebraska has a chance to win a lot of games next year. Do we actually do it? Well, who the heck knows? But we'll see. The chance is there. The opportunity is there. What is this, 5 straight years, national champions in the offseason? Undefeated, undisputed. Hopefully it carries over into September, October, November. So for me, I guarantee there was a bidding war with Rocco. He's a good player, 4-star coming out of high school, top 100 player, started 23 games for the Irish, 402 pass pro snaps last year, didn't give up a sack, known as a road grader, 325 pounds, plenty of experience, a guy that you expect to come in, contribute, make a difference. You got any thoughts? Anything you disagree with there on Rocco or anything else that I said?
No, it's interesting. I mean, the whole, it's just, sometimes beauty is in the eye of the beholder to a degree, because we will see. Notre Dame fans generally liked Rocco. And remember, he had to play that second half of the season hurt, including up into the championship game. But it's just interesting because he was not guaranteed a starting spot at Notre Dame. And so to him to be the hero for Nebraska's offensive line is interesting to me to a degree. I mean, we'll see how it turns out. But that just tells you how good Notre Dame's offensive line is and was to kind of lead them. And we saw that. That's what they did. Riley Leonard, that rushing game, that's what gets them going. So this guy specifically, Rocco Spindler, as a rushing, to bolster rushing attack is very exciting for Nebraska. That could definitely use that again with the running back room that has one proven guy and then a bunch of question marks.
I still haven't heard of us just bringing in a running back just to look at him. Again, I'm just trusting the coaches with that. What I see is we need at least more competition and or depth in the running back room. What I know is we haven't looked for any of it. So I'm trusting the coaches and assuming there's a reason for that. They must like what they've got in-house. And I'm just going to roll with that. And if games roll around and that goes the way I'm hoping it does because I trust the coaches and we've got a great 1-2 punch and maybe a third back that can come in if somebody gets banged up, I'm going to say, told you so. I told you to trust the coaches. But if it turns out we've got one back and he gets banged up and we're hurting, I'm going to call him out quicker than a hiccup. I'm going to flip like a baby face turning heel as a pro wrestler, Jake. I'm just telling you now, I'm going to flip on him. All right. But you come back to the offensive line. And I do want to make clear, because it is really easy. And I'm starting to equate so many more things to the NFL with college football than I ever have for obvious reasons. And playing 8 years in the league, okay, it's not hard to do. So for me, in the NFL, the guys who got paid the most were the projected starters. And obviously, the guys who are being brought in through the transfer portal, the idea is that they're going to start or play significantly if they're young guys sooner rather than later. They're going to be given that benefit of the doubt. Let's be real. One of the things that always impressed me about walk-ons was scholarship players are always given the benefit of the doubt over a walk-on. If you're a walk-on and you're on the field, you have clearly outplayed a guy on scholarship. All right. It's going to be the same way with transfer portal, just like it was in the NFL. The guys who make the most money are going to get the benefit of the doubt. They should, because they probably earned it to a certain degree, and that's why they're getting the money to begin with. So they should be given the benefit of the doubt. The more money you get paid, the more the benefit of the doubt is. What I am saying is I'm still a guy that says when you come in here, you got to earn it. If I'm a Nebraska guard right now, and I'm here right now, I'm going to welcome Rocco Spindler with open arms, and then I'm going to try to beat his butt out. Because at a certain point, whoever's getting the benefit of the doubt, at a certain point, these coaches have to win. They want to win. Their jobs depend on winning. They're going to play the better player. In other words, I don't want to disrespect the guys that are already here by just handing a job to somebody. Whoever's coming here is going to get the benefit of the doubt. The more they get paid, the more benefit of the doubt they get. But at the end of the day, if somebody's clearly being outplayed, that person, regardless, transfer portal, senior, freshman, whatever the case may be, should start. And I believe with a guy like Matt Rule, a former walk-on, and I know the 105, the no walk-ons, et cetera, I get that, is going to see that. His seat's getting warm this year. I don't know that it's hot, but it's warm. Everybody feels it. Everybody knows it. He's got to win football games. He's eventually going to give it to the guy that earns it unquestionably. All right. So for me, I'm looking at a guy like Grant Bricks, Preston Tamua, looking at Henry Letufsky, who's going to be out this spring. I know Carter Nelson's going to be out this spring. Turner Corcoran's having another surgery on his hamstring, so he's going to be out. But when they come back, and everyone's back in the fall, let's get the most out of spring ball that we can. But everyone comes back in the fall. Like, it's about earning it. All right. Justin Evans. So I look at the interior part of this O-line. I see three guys who've started a ton of games. Justin Evans, Henry Letufsky, Rocco Spindler. I see three guys who started games for the past 2 years at various points, a lot of games. All right. Rocco Spindler was highly graded as far as being a run blocker, as far as not giving up a lot of sacks. Jake makes a fair point. Kind of had to earn his spot back a little bit. Played hurt the second half of the year. How much did that affect him? You watch Notre Dame this year, they dominated the line of scrimmage in every game except for two. Northern Illinois and the first half of Penn State and the first half of Ohio State. I kind of merged those two halves of Penn State and Ohio State into one. The second half, and they were playing with two backup linemen against Penn State, and their guard was so confused, he went the wrong way on multiple pull plays, and Penn State just burst in the backfield for tackles for loss. But the head coach of Notre Dame challenged his team at halftime, said, we got to run the ball. Got to run the ball. That's what Notre Dame does. That's who they are. And they came out and they ran the ball and they came back and they beat Penn State. And in that middle eight that I talked about, last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half, they outscored Penn State 17-0, and that's how they won. They outscored Georgia 10-0 in that middle eight. Ohio State in that middle eight actually outscored and beat Notre Dame in that middle eight, the first team all year to do so outside of Northern Illinois. They outscored in the middle eight. All right. Penn State and Georgia 27-0, and that was really the difference makers in those games. They were physical up front, and they were good up front. They bounced back the second half versus Penn State. They played better, and they stayed in the game versus Ohio State. That first drive was great in the national title game. What was it, 17 plays? Riley Leonard ran it 9 times, and that was a physical drive. Ohio State kind of dominated the rest of the half, but Notre Dame did bounce back up front in the second half and got back in the game and made it more competitive than most people, including myself, thought it would actually be. Now, Ohio State won, is still covered. But to me, Rocco Spindler is the guy that should come in, earn the starting spot, and we should have everybody fighting for these starting spots, and we should have great depth on the interior part of our offensive line. I don't know. We might look at the offensive tackles here when we come back from break. What do you think about that, Jake?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, like you said, I like how you kind of said it right there. There's a lot of starting experience now in the interior offensive line. Now you look at the outside, that's where the concern starts to be. And I mean, and we'll see what happens. Everybody said they needed 2 tackles. They got one who's somewhat of I want to say a little bit of a project. So
no, a little bit, a lot of a bit.
Yeah.
I don't mean that disparagingly. Just the facts are what they are. You know what I mean? Like I always say, facts don't care about feelings. Also in business doesn't care about emotions. Like those are the two things that I always equate those things to. I mean, in life, when it comes to my kids, when it comes to my wife, there's a lot of feelings. There's a lot of emotions that go into it. But when it comes to facts, when it comes to business, I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about emotions. It just is what it is. So let's talk a little bit when we come back from the break. We're going to get to Mike EKELER at noon and our coordinators and special teams. We're going to talk about that at the top of the hour. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the offensive tackle situation. I don't want to say situation. That sounds negative. But the offensive tackle potential starters, players, guys who can battle for playtime when we come back right after this break.
Stop asking your friends if they're hosting a party this Sunday and come for the real party instead. Join 93.7 The Ticket for the big game at Wings and Rings at 68th and O this Sunday and walk away with great prizes just for showing up. Why worry about making a great spread of food for the game at your house when you can enjoy all the great wings and more at Wings and Rings? It's the big game party with 93.7 The Ticket at Wings and Rings this Sunday at 68th and O.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800. Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
What's going on, fans? This is Lexi Rodriguez, 4-time All-American at Nebraska and now proud member of Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League One Volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players, and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering us on in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action this season. Go Big Green!
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Attention all wing fans! Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 89-cent boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.29 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today at 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
Grace, you hungry? You know I am, Mama. Let me introduce y'all to my canes. We got chicken fingers. They hit the spot, baby. Fries are golden crispy, Texas toast crunchy, and they cane sauce right. We got a coleslaw right here. Ooh, Lord help me. This sweet tea makes me sweet. That's what my mama said. So what are you doing right now? Get your mom to take you to Raising Cane's chicken fingers. Hello!
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between, we'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. I forgot to do like the whole intro and everything else. There's so much to talk about. All right. You know what you're going to get here on the Adam Carriker Show. You're going to get Husker Sport. We're going to talk Husker Sports, almost forgot college football and sports in general. What you're going to get is unique insight, unbridled honesty, and producer Jake and I are going to have a whole lot of fun in the process. All right, check out all things The Ticket at theticketfm.com. All right, social media, podcast platforms, YouTube, every frickin' where, the Carriker Chronicles. It's everywhere too, but I always just talk about CarrikerChronicles.com and on YouTube as well. It's also on Sports Illustrated here at The Ticket, et cetera, et cetera. All right. Nebraska's offensive tackles. So I'm looking at this list here, and I don't know if they have everybody on it. So if we're missing somebody, let me know. All right, Jay, Gunnar Gatula, Elijah Pritchett. Those are the projected starters. Again, got to earn it. Did that whole diatribe last segment. I think it's fair to project those two. Now, when you and I chatted, we had kind of had Gunnar at left, Elijah Pritchett at right. When I chatted with Sean Callahan, he had it flipped because Elijah Pritchett started left tackle for Bama. Gunnar Gatula was the right tackle. And yes, there is a gargantuan difference. With all due respect to right tackles, unless you're a left-handed quarterback, you put your best left tackle at left tackle. There is there is a lot to the blind side, protecting your quarterback. That's why offensive tackles are getting anywhere from $1 to $2 million in college football now. Let me repeat that, ladies and gentlemen. Offensive tackles are getting anywhere from $1 to $2 million in college football nowadays. Probably part of the reason we're having a challenging time trying to get them. Part of me looks at Coach Raiola and I'm like, man, let's get more of these guys here. Part of me says it's a bit of a mercenary business. Every guy's different. Some guys are going to be purely money. Some guys are going to be playtime development and win. Some guys are going to be location. All right. Every player is a little bit different. I do think, as a general consensus, the top two things people are going to look at, players are going to look at, probably money. 1A. 1B is going to be, can I win? It could be, can you get me to the league as well? All right. But you look at Gunnar Gatula, you look at Henry Letowski. I don't know. You got to see how camp goes out. Right now, I'd put Gunnar Gatula there just because Henry, I mean, he gave up more sacks and pressures than the rest of Alabama's offensive line combined. Okay. That's just the stats.
Elijah Pritchett, yeah.
What'd I say?
You said Henry Letowski.
Yeah, I'm confusing all sorts. And I thought I said Henry Pritchett at one point is what I thought I said. That's why I asked. So Elijah Pritchett. Now, again, 247 Sports, when he came out of high school, Pritchett was their number one offensive tackle in the country. So if his talent, his athleticism, his size, his ability, if he can just find consistency, this dude can be really freaking good. He doesn't even have to try to be great. Just be consistent. By the way, exactly what I want out of our special teams unit, but we'll get to that next segment at the top of the hour. So for me, I look at Elijah Pritchett, Gunnar Gatula. They're probably going to start Pritchett at left tackle, Gunnar Gatula at right if they earn it. But let's look at some of these other names. You got Teddy Prohaska coming back from a third major knee injury. This dude was highly recruited. Take it from a guy, I don't talk about this a lot. We have so much stuff for the offseason. Stories about Albert Haynesworth, more stories about Donovan, stories about what happened in the Rams locker room. I mean, I was in there with Orlando Pace, Leonard Little, Leroy Glover, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Steven Jackson, Mark Bulger. So much crazy stuff. Okay, so many things to talk about from my time at Nebraska. All right, but we got a lot of off season and plenty of stuff to talk about. It's going to go by fast. But for me, when I look at these offensive tackles, that's where I was going with that. I lost my train of thought, but the knee situation. I've had 6 knee surgeries. Dr. James Andrews, the most probably renowned orthopedic surgeon in the world, looked at me at one point and he goes, "It's a miracle you can walk." So I've had 6 knee surgeries on my right knee. I can bore you with those stories at some point in time if Jake wants me to bring it up. 2 on my left, 2 on my shoulders. Okay. And every time it's not the scopes. I had scopes in addition to, at the same time, they were cutting those things wide open. So these were major 6 to 9 month recovery type surgeries. I know what that's like. So for me, coming back from 3 isn't impossible. It's just really hard. So I'm rooting for him and it can be done. But I'm going to be honest. I'm rooting for him. It can be done. The odds are going to be exponentially harder, especially after that third one. It jumps up from 1 to 2. Obviously, the first one's harder, or it's hard. 1 to 2, it jumps up. 2 to 3 is where it jumps up a lot. Like it really jumps up a lot, but I'm rooting for him. You look at Turner Corcoran. I mean, he's had a couple of knee surgeries, I believe. Now he's got the hamstring. So these guys are guys with experience, guys who've got ability. The question is, how quickly, how fast, how effectively can they come back from these surgeries and contribute? Okay. You look at some of these other guys, and I didn't even mention on the interior, Sam Sledge, potentially at center as well. Okay. But you look at some of these other offensive tackles. Who are some of the guys that kind of stick out to you, Jake, as guys who could potentially step up, all right, and potentially help, whether they beat these guys out for a starting job, whether they add depth, whether they're competing for the job? Who are some of the guys that stick out to you that I haven't talked about yet, Jake?
Well, I just look at Nebraska's most recent depth chart for the bowl game, and there you had Gunnar Gatula starting. Right behind him was Grant Segrin, another redshirt freshman. So it's really that redshirt freshman class.
Yep.
Grant Segrin stands 6'6", 305. Then you look at the backup for that game at right tackle behind Bryce Benhart was Brock Knudsen, another redshirt freshman, 6'7", 305. So they need to kind of develop some of these guys. Jason Masajik, a backup there at guard, listed there, 6'2", 305, probably more of a guard size. You mentioned Sam Sledge, and so, some of those guys, Grant Bricks, at least that we've seen so far in the most recent depth chart at guard. But it's just, I just continue to be interested because it's similar to the running back situation, right? Where from the outside, we're all going, I think they need more tackles. There are guys in the room that maybe they believe in by the time they come up, going into your sophomore year, now your third year in the program, maybe should be ready to roll.
You make some good points. And if you talk about Sam Sledge being on that interior battle role, guard, center type competition, I look at a guy like Grant Bricks. With his athleticism, could he potentially go out to tackle and compete for a spot and add depth, if nothing else, until he continues to develop? He's going to be a redshirt freshman this year. That was a highly touted, highly recruited guy as well. So I'd remembered Grant. I'd kind of forgotten, with all due respect to Brock Knudsen. That's a guy to keep your eye on as well. Grant Segrin as well. So for me, I think where I see it is different than the running back spot is they've made almost no attempt. I think we offered one transfer portal running back very early on in December. And I think he was like the number one transfer portal running back in the time. His name escapes me. Since then, we haven't, nada. We have brought in roughly, I could be off a little, 4 billion offensive linemen over the past month or two. I could be off just a couple. 4 billion offensive linemen, and a lot of them have been tackles. To me, that's the difference. And when you look at, I look at Gunnar, and that's a Sunday player eventually down the road. How good will he be as a sophomore is the question. That's what we need to know the answer to. Elijah Pritchett, obviously Sunday talent. Can he find consistency? So I look at the guys who we're counting on right now, and I'm like, I see on the interior guys who can start that I feel like I can trust. At the tackle spot, I see guys who can start. How much can we trust him? I do believe Gunnar Gatula is going to be one of our 5 best offensive linemen. But if you're talking about the left tackle, you got to be the best or in the top 2 at least. Maybe you have an absurdly good guard or center. So for me, that's where I'm like, I'm not sure who's at the top of the list behind those two guys. And I'm not sure how much I trust the consistency just yet of Pritchett and Gatula. I think highly of Gatula, by the way, very highly. So maybe he makes a jump. He could make an incredible jump. I thought he did an admirable job at worst and a very good job at best last year filling in as a freshman. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the top of the hour. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the news of the day, the highlight of the day, we have a new special teams coach, Mr. Mike EKELER. We're going to chat about him. How much better can our special teams be? And our coordinator situation. It's weird when you say situation, it sounds negative. I don't mean it negatively. I'm actually excited about it, but our coordinator situation is an overall whole. Don't go anywhere. Grab your lunch, and we'll be right back.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Copple Chevrolet GMC, and we wanted to give a special shout out to all of our great customers, thanking you all for a record-setting year in 2024. Now let's get the new year rolling with some big savings. Right now at Copple, we have some of the biggest discounts in the area with over $12,000 off list price or 0% APR on select new models. So stop on in the dealership or hit us up online at copplecars.com to get true low country overhead in action. $12,000 off list or 0% APR right now at Copple. So please stop on in or visit us at copplecars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
What's going on, fans? This is Lexi Rodriguez, four-time All-American at Nebraska and now proud member of Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League One Volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players, and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering us on in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action this season. Go Big Green!
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Ready to spruce up your space? No matter what project is on your list, you can check it off at the Nebraska Builders Home and Garden Show, February 7th through the 9th at the Sandhills Global Event Center. With over 200 businesses under one roof, you'll find the latest in home innovations and experts to handle your dream projects. Admission is just $10, and children 12 and under are free. For more information, visit the Home and Garden Show online at hbal.org.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everidge. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to hour 2 of the Adam Carriker Show. If you missed the first hour, you missed a lot. We talked some NBA, Luka Doncic. All right, we talked about Rocco Spindler. We talked about guys earning spots. Who do we need at offensive tackle to step up? What does the interior offensive line look like? What else did we talk about? It was a freaking loaded hour. We talked about a ton. All right. And we did Carriker's Trivia Challenge. Rico pulled the upset of the millennium, came in. I feel bad for the guys who I let him win, but we'll get a rematch one day. I moved to 8-3-1 now on the Carriker. That one is the one that annoys me the most, by the way, Jake. And that is on you. 8-3-1 is on you. I accept the 3.
Record. That's a good record.
Yeah, but the 1 is on you. 8-3-1. I accept the 8. I will accept the 8 all day. I accept the 3. I don't mind. I just hate ties in general. Like, I don't mind losing. I don't mind winning. But when it comes to ties, it makes me, I need a vomit bag. Like, I can't stand ties. You either got to win or you got to lose.
Have you been to a sporting event where there's a tie? And I always feel like if you did that, like even the NFL, they go to overtime. I feel like the fans would just kind of look at each other and be like, we just did nothing.
Well, you make a great point. Have I ever been to it? No. There's been NFL games with ties in the past.
Yeah.
Remember, we didn't always have overtime in the regular season. Even since overtime, there's been some ties. You go all the way through to the end of that extended period. I remember one year the Major League Baseball All-Star Game went to a tie. I think I was in college when that happened. Okay, and everyone's like, just play another inning or two, or do some sort of a what is it? In soccer and hockey, it was shootout. Do some sort of a shootout, but make it like a home run derby type. I remember that year. I was at my grandparents watching, so that was a while ago. And have I been to one? No, thank goodness. I can't stand ties. And I think fans that go to the game, they're kind of like you. What did we just do? We probably ate popcorn, spent a lot of money, and we got nowhere. That's probably how they feel. But, all right, it's time to get to the hot topic of the day. But before we do that, I don't know if anybody watches the WWE. I watch the Royal Rumble. Charlotte Flair makes her big return after being gone for 2 years. But the reason I bring this up, my favorite sign there, and Jake, you said you saw this.
Oh, yeah.
Was natty or not, still. By the way, 1890 is the number on this, but 1,890 days since Ohio State has beaten Michigan. Ohio State has bragging rights over 132 teams in the country. Ohio State's 133, but that 134th team that team up north will never let them hear the end of it. All right. And I was asked this question on Facebook from Manuel Jovel, just kind of randomly. He goes, just out of curiosity and maybe for a future segment, and I'll dive more into this in the future, but who are the 5 best offensive linemen you ever went up against? And so the 2 that immediately always pop into my head are Larry Allen, Richie Incognito. Boom, boom. And I was like, I've never tried to come up with 5 before. Mostly people just say who was the best. So the next person that popped into my head was Joe Thomas. Then just immediately Alan Faneca. Do you know who Alan Faneca was?
Yeah.
Oh, beast. All right. Former longtime Steelers, Super Bowl champion, lineman, Pro Bowler. If he's not in the Hall of Fame, he will be. And then the fifth one was Trent Williams, which was a true freshman, started at Oklahoma, and we played them in the Big 12 championship game. All right, my senior year. And it was funny because when he got to DC, four overall pick in the draft, I mean, my son's like, he's a 99 in Madden, and he deserves to be. He's really freaking good. Watch him on film sometime. Big, fast, athletic, mean, strong, nasty. But he first got to DC, he comes up to me. So he's the rookie, the big first-round draft pick of that year, and he goes, I remember when you ran me over in that Big 12 title game. And he just walked away, and I was like, nice to meet you too, Trent. Welcome to the NFL. I was like, all right, I take that as a compliment, I guess. Don't worry. He got me plenty of times in practice, and we went back and forth in practice. I faced him way more in practice than I ever did in games. Okay, but he popped into my head. That dude has had a Hall of Fame career. He may be, what's he, about 12 years in now? He may be still the best offensive lineman in the league. Okay, you can debate that. But that was kind of interesting to me. And we talked basketball earlier. You probably saw this, but Kansas. They were up 38-17 on Baylor. You see this? Up by 21 points and lost by 11. They got outscored by 32 points. It's two things. The largest blown lead in the history of Kansas basketball and the largest point swing in one game, 32 points in the history of Kansas basketball. That's crazy. I've held on to that one for a while, mostly because we had lost 6 in a row. Now that we've won 2 in a row, we can puff our chest just a smidge, just a millimeter out there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive into Mike Ekeler and the coordinators. Before we do that, all right, we got a Super Bowl square giveaway. So we have a trivia challenge question for you. Just one. All you got to do is text in. All right, what's that number to text in there, Jake?
402-464-5685.
What school did our new special teams coordinator, Mike Ekeler, play linebacker at? I even told Jake, I feel like this one's too easy. But it's what we're going to roll with because it leads into the segment. That's why we decided to ask this question. What school did Mike Ekeler play his college football at? Simply text into that number, all right, and let them know what they win there, Jake, or what they get there, Jake.
Yeah, you're going to get a Super Bowl square. So we do this every year, and we're going to have our party again out at Buffalo Wings and Rings. So the winner, you get a number. So the Super Bowl square works like this. You get, the number, and then you're going to have to cheer for the games to end in whatever score that is. So James Berger earlier won the 0-0 square. So he's going to have to hope for a 20-10 game. So that's kind of where we're going down here. So just text in. You have a chance to win many prizes. You don't have to be at our Super Bowl party, though. We do encourage it.
Is his middle name Cheese? Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Mike Ekeler, our new special teams coordinator. This is a man from David City, Nebraska. All right, and I actually did a speaking gig there 2 weeks ago. And of course, there's a bunch of people that know Coach Ekeler there, and they had all sorts of, not even so much questions, but glad information they were happy to share with me. But nothing was finalized at that point in time. Okay, so I'm not going to pretend like I knew he was coming or anything of that nature. But it was fun conversations nonetheless. He was interested at that point. He was interested from the minute the position became available. This is a position, a coaching spot that he is excited to accept and be a part of. I know that for a fact, all right, from a lot of his close relatives and friends via David City. Now, if you didn't know, I can't say the next thing gives away the Super Bowl square answer. So I won't say the next thing, but coach linebackers here under Bo Pelini about 15 years ago. All right. And this is a guy who, in the past 4 years, his special teams unit, he's considered, when I Googled about a month ago and I did a bunch of research and I learned more about him, and there was about 9 other special teams coordinators at the time that I was trying to all right, who makes logical sense? Where would there be a connection? Who's a good potential fit? Why would they be a good coach, et cetera, et cetera? He is consistently rated, depending on where you look, 3rd, 4th, 5th, in the top 3 to 5 special teams coordinators in America. In the last half decade, his special teams have only allowed 1 blocked kick. That's 1/10 the amount of blocked kicks that Nebraska allowed in one season, a season ago. Last 4 years, only allowed 162 total return yards. Yet, his units have had over 1,000 combined total return yards during that same period. So you can see why he's a highly thought of special teams coordinator. He's obviously got that Nebraska connection, which is why he was definitely interested in this job. I mean, you look at Tennessee. That is an SEC championship game contender type of roster. Josh Heupel, is going to win a national title before he's all said and done. As a coach, he's already done it as a quarterback. Right? 2000, Oklahoma went undefeated, beat Florida State in the Orange Bowl, although they should have played Miami that year because Miami beat Florida State, had the same record. Topic for another day. But for me, Florida State had a wide receiver that year named Snoop Menace. One of my favorite names for a wide receiver ever, Mr. Snoop Menace. And Chris Winkie won the Heisman that year because Josh got second as the quarterback, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure that's correct. Do you remember?
That
you
sounds
know
right.
all
That
this
does sound
trivia
right.
stuff,
Yeah.
and you don't know that?
No, that
figured
does
you'd know.
sound right. Yeah.
Okay, it does. We're going to go with this sounds right. We're just smarter than the average dumb guy on this show. So that's our goal here on the Adam Carriker Show. But Heupel did great things at UCF, goes to Tennessee, a Tennessee program that has been floundering essentially since Philip Fulmer retired all those years ago, about 15 years ago. Builds them up. Now, his first year there, it's the up-tempo, fast strike, quick passing, scoring offense. I would say last year, their defense was amongst the best in the country and carried that team. Nico Iamaleava is one of the top 10 returning quarterbacks in the country. Insanely talented, had a very up and down freshman season. It happens. Sound familiar at all? It's okay. But he's back, and that offense is going to be rolling. That defense is going to be good. So if I'm Mike Ekeler, and I'm in this situation, good NIL, great program, future is bright, great head coach, SEC, the wannabe NFL of college football, and I go to Nebraska, that says a lot. I'm sure there's money involved, all those good things, but that says a lot, that Nebraska has a lot to offer. You get a guy like Dana Holgorsen to come here. You get the number one transfer portal class in the entire Big Ten Conference. If you look at it, we're number one with 16 current commits, all right, 6 4-stars, and a number 5 national ranking. Behind us is Oregon. Number 3 is Indiana. Apparently, they just live in the transfer portal bubble. Wisconsin Badgers, UCLA Bruins, Michigan Spartan, Washington Huskies, Minnesota, USC, Michigan. That rounds out your top 10 in the Big Ten. If you look nationally, it's all Southern teams except for one team. Number 1 is LSU. Transfer portal class nationally. Number 2, Ole Miss. Number 3, Texas Tech. Texas Tech trying to do some big things. Auburn needs a big rebound season. Nebraska, number 5. Then you got Miami, Kentucky, Florida State, A&M, Missouri. It's all Southern teams. I guess Missouri's kind of, I know they're in the SEC, Southern mid, so to speak. And then you got Nebraska, the only Northern team. Like, there's things to be excited about. And if I'm Mike Ekeler, I'm looking at a new long snapper, Kevin Galick. I'm looking at Jack McAllister, a solid punter. I'm looking at John Holt, Tristan Alvano. I got a great kicker competition coming up. One of those two guys is going to earn that job. They both have 50-plus, like, leg power talent. Hope that phrase made sense. I think it did. The question is, can they be continuously accurate? And John Holt made 8 kicks in a row at one point. He had a great game against Ohio State. To me, that was his coming out party. And the only miss he had to end the year was due to a bad snap versus Iowa and a blocked PAT return for 2 against Boston College. Let's fix the snaps. Let's fix the protection. And I feel like we have the potential to have really good punters, kickers, a really good special teams coordinator. You got Andrew Marshall, Ja'Cory Barney as potential returners. We haven't averaged 10 yards per return in a decade. Well, 9 years. 2016. Now, I don't expect Andrew Marshall to average 41.4 yards per kick return, but that's what he's averaged this past season at Idaho. Okay, I don't continue that to expect that to continue. But him and Ja'Cory Barney back there are going to be great complements to each other. I look at the special teams, and honestly, even though everything I just said would lay it out that we can be really good, I'd be happy with average. I would. I really would. The ceiling is much higher than average, but I'd be happy with average on special teams. I'd be happy if our defense just stayed status quo and our offense made the appropriate jump. If we did that, we beat Illinois. We make that field goal. We go into overtime versus Iowa. We dominated that game. I feel like we find a way to win. Boston College isn't even close. And you look at some of that's easy. I don't want to say easily. It feels like it'd be easy, but seemingly it could be easily 2 more wins. And there's 9 wins if you include the bowl game. Also, Iowa employed the, hey, we're playing Nebraska. Let's not just shoot ourselves in the foot tactic. Let's just continually not blow the game, not blow the game, not blow the game. Let Nebraska do it. They'll hand us the game. That's eventually what happened. We eventually have to force teams to actually beat us rather than give them a reason to say, just don't blow it. Nebraska will give us the game. And then we can have more full confidence in everything that I just outlined, because everything I just outlined is a reason that we can win 9-10 games. But I also outlined some things to give you a reason to believe, hey, we might win 6 or 7 instead of reaching our full potential. So for me, it's all about the consistency. It's about the little things, the snap, the blocking, the protection, whether it's field goal protection, whether it's pump pro, whether we're talking protecting the quarterback up front, whether we're talking running the ball. It's the little things. Not many teams just straight up out-talent Nebraska. By the way, I want to play that James Williams clip. Do you have that?
Yeah.
Can we play it really quickly?
Yep. Grab it real quick.
So there are schools out there that are going to have more talent than Nebraska. Not a ton. But to me, Mike EKELER coming in gives us an opportunity as far as our special teams offensive defensive coordinator, potentially to have a top 10, top 15 coordinator trio in the entire country. But if we don't do the little things, we're not going to get the complete end results that we want either. But James Williams said something, and I think what frustrates me about what he said, was he right? Was he wrong? I don't know. I don't go to a lot of Florida State practices. If you didn't know, former edge rusher for Nebraska transferred to Florida State. I think what frustrated me about this was he walked on here. Is that correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
He was a 2-star.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Basically, not many schools were interested. And he sat in here and did an interview after he entered the transfer portal. Not many people were interested. Nebraska gave him a chance. He has a really good game versus Rutgers, and Nebraska people, like, he has a good season, but Nebraska people embrace him. That picture of him and Knighton hugging basically went the Nebraska version of viral, and Nebraska fans completely embraced him. Now, whether Florida State's more or less talented, okay. But this clip bothered me because it was unnecessary. All right, go ahead and roll that there, Jake.
Genius about Coach White is that although this is a 3-3-5 defense, he's very multiple. You know, he doesn't just focus on just the 3-3-5 and sticking to it, even if it doesn't work. He is someone who sees the personnel around him and what he has and will adjust to that. If we are a faster group, he'll play a faster kind of defense. If we're a bigger group, he'll play a bigger kind of defense. He's not someone who you have to adjust to his system, although that partly is true. You know, he'll always incorporate what kind of talent he has. And I think, like, in my first couple of weeks here, experiencing like some of the talent that we have at DB and linebacker that, no offense to Nebraska, but like we may not have had there, and like the depth that we have, I think like he's going to have a lot of fun being able to play around with that and disguise coverages and you know, sub in different packages and all that kind of stuff. As opposed to Nebraska, which he was doing, but you know, we don't always have the 1-for-1 need at every position.
So again, whether that's accurate or not, I can't sit here and tell you who's more talented at this point in time. I can look at composite rankings. I can look at talent composite rankings, and I do that. He's been in both locker rooms, although this locker room looks vastly different than from even when he was here. So he probably can't even speak as expertly and directly to Nebraska's current locker room as he maybe even thinks, even though he's going to know Vincent Shavers, Willis McGahee Jr., etc., but not Marquez Watson-Trent, not Dawson McCullough, not some of these other guys we brought in. But he can speak more expertly to Florida State's roster, at least for now. He's at least seen them in winter conditioning at this point. They haven't had a single practice yet. For me, it was like, this school gave you a chance. There was not a lot of interest. You played well in a couple of games. There were some times he frankly disappeared after the Rutgers game because I kept like keeping my eye on him, and he didn't quite duplicate it. He's a talented dude with a bright future. Just unnecessary. Just not cool. I don't know that it's a gargantuan deal, which is why I brought it up with like 2 minutes left in this segment, but I just didn't think it was necessary, and I was very disappointed. It's kind of like when your parent gets mad at you, that's one thing. When a parent's disappointed in you, that's another. And I'm not saying I'm his parent. I'm obviously not. But that was disappointing to me. That was unnecessary. I'll drop another name, and a lot of people love him. And maybe I need to go back and look at exactly what he said. But Adrian Martinez said a few things when he went to Kansas State, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Talking about it was the most talented roster he'd ever been on was that Kansas State roster.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed at how Nebraska fans Adrian came back and they completely embraced him. It's the same reason I say one day Scott Frost will come back. Now, he's younger. Took Solich about 20 years. It might take Frost 40. It might take Frost himself 40 years. But Nebraska fans are awesome. I don't exactly. Like when I think of Adrian Martinez, I can't help get the fact that he transferred and then left and then said those things out of my head. But with James Williams, it's like Adrian he was recruited highly. He had options when he left. Like James had options when he left because of the opportunities he got here, and that was completely unnecessary. I wish Tony White, I love Tony. I love Knighton. I wish him nothing but the best. With James, no negativity. Don't wish him anything bad or sour, but I have a hard time rooting for him. Like, I hope he plays a lot. I hope he doesn't get hurt. Beyond that, I don't know. It's tough for me, Jake. Does that make sense? What do you think on this before we go to break?
He said no offense. You took a lot of offense.
That is true. You can say no offense, and then you can say anything you want. Isn't that how that works?
Yeah, but for what it's worth, too, if you look at Florida State's, their problem, I know a lot of it was, well, they're a 2-10 team. How dare you say that? They only scored more than 21 once. I mean, their defense was pretty good. Their offense was awful. So, there is part of that. And, I personally, and James Williams was I was a big fan of James Williams when he's here in Scarlet and Cream. So maybe I'm a little bit biased here, but I didn't take too much offense to it. I thought it was more about Florida State and what they potentially can do than speaking to what Nebraska had. And, I think it was a way of complimenting Tony White by saying maybe they got more out of that defense than the talent was there.
I get that. Still unnecessary. That all makes sense. Just still unnecessary. Just say, hey, we got the ability to do X, Y, and Z. It's exciting to be a part of this, et cetera, et cetera. Like, no offense to Nebraska, couldn't do that there. I mean, there's a reason that was laid out there. But again, I didn't want to spend a ton of time on that. I did think it was worth at least just spending a couple of minutes on. But I am excited when we come back. We have a very special guest. All right, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall, Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between, we'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800. Attention all wing fans! Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 89-cent boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.29 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today at 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
Ready to spruce up your space? No matter what project is on your list, you can check it off at the Nebraska Builders Home and Garden Show, February 7th through the 9th at the Sandhills Global Event Center. With over 200 businesses under one roof, you'll find the latest in home innovations and experts to handle your dream projects. Admission is just $10, and children 12 and under are free. For more information, visit the Home and Garden Show online at hbal.org.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. This segment is brought to you by our good friends at Mulberry Barbecue at 11th and Cornhusker, open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Try their burnt sandwich, a brisket burrito, barbecue nachos, a full slab of delicious ribs, a half-smoked chicken, and much, much more, plus incredible sides. Get fueled for lunch today or make dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, located at 11th and Cornhusker. And now I'm excited to bring on our special guest. She's a former Northwestern volleyball player turned sports broadcaster based out of Chicago, a volleyball analyst for the Big Ten Network, ESPN, Fox Sports, and she does a phenomenal job. Miss Emily Ehman. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm glorious. I appreciate you taking the time to join us. So a lot of volleyball to talk in general, but I got to start right out the gate. I saw some of your posts and tweets on X. Talk to me about John Cook, who just retired. You were obviously at the Nebraska Volleyball Day, set the world record, 92,003 people. He was obviously the head coach for that. Talk to me about your experience with John Cook and your impressions and memories from his career.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Coach Cook is going to go down as one of the greatest to ever do it. And when you think about volleyball coaching legends, there's obviously Russ Rose, who won 7 titles with Penn State, who retired a few years back. And then there's John Cook. I mean, he is one of the greatest in all of, I don't want to say just volleyball, but really all of college sports, what he's been able to do with this program to build it up, to win 4 NCAA titles. He won 14 conference titles. He also has the best win percentage of any Division I coach in the last 25 years. So this is a coach that has not only found success, but he's been able to sustain that for so long. And I will say, I think the biggest thing that people are going to remember, especially as of recently, is the relationships that he had. And that goes to the team, of course, his players, but also just the volleyball community as a whole. I mean, Nebraska, everybody knows, is the biggest volleyball hub, I think, not only in the U.S., but in the entire world. And the way that he has touched this team and this community has been incredible. And I will say, for me specifically, like, it was so fun going into the gym every day when I would have a game there in the morning for serve and pass. And every day I would walk in and he would go, "Emily, I'm happy you're here because that means it's a big game." And just, I think the way that he interacted with all of the media was incredible. The press conferences, everything. He is one of the best. And I mean, the volleyball community is essentially mourning right now. I saw someone say that on Instagram the other day, and I completely agree. I think this is a coach that, people love so much. So to see them leave, I know he's sticking around for a little bit, but it's going to be tough with him gone.
So talk to me. You talked about the relationships that he built, and I'm sure that was a part of him building and continuing on such a successful program, which was handed to him from Terry Pettit, who won the first national championship here at Nebraska. But talk to me ultimately about Cook's success and why you think he had such a high level of success for such a sustained period of time. That is so hard to do. I talk about consistency over time being one of the hardest things for players to achieve. What do you think were some of the biggest keys and reasons he was able to do that as a coach for so long?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few reasons. One, it's that he takes a philosophy that he's always learning. He goes into every season thinking, I don't know anything, and now I have to learn. It doesn't matter if he's coming off of a national title. It doesn't matter if he's coming off, a season where they felt like they underachieved. He goes into the next season. He goes into every day trying to learn more and get better and stay humble. And I think he's done a really good job of that over the years. I mean, it can become difficult when his first season was 2000 and they won a national title. So, you might have a lot of coaches going into that thinking, okay, like, I'm a pretty dang good coach. This is I've got something good going over here. And yes, he thinks those things, but he also knows that he has to continue to evolve as a coach. And I will say, I think it's become more difficult over the last, I would say, probably 5 years of college sports, with all the changes, with the transfer portal, with NIL, with everything. But what he has done to cultivate an environment that is welcoming, that his players love, that he has great relationships with them, it's really difficult to do these days at these kind of programs where you expect to win national titles. This is a coach that was coming off of coaching philosophy similar to like a Nick Saban, or even he's talked about like a Bob Knight, so like really tough coaches. But what he's done is evolve the way he coaches. And the biggest thing that he's learned over the last about 5 years or so has been that he has to have those relationships with his players. He has to have that one-on-one time, not becoming necessarily that father figure for them, but someone that they can actually relate to and go to, because he knows to get the most out of his players, he has to have that relationship with them. And honestly, I think for the last few years, that's one of the biggest reasons why Nebraska has been able to be so successful.
All right. Nebraska's new head coach, as I know you're aware, Danny Busboom Kelly. She was an assistant coach, a player here, won a national title as a player, won a national title as an assistant coach of the year, then national coach of the year. She moves on to Louisville. They were a program that was okay, 12-18, under 500 before she got there. 3-time ACC Coach of the Year. They've won 4 straight ACC championships, 2 number 1 overall seeds. They'd never had that before. How was she able to take Louisville to the heights and level of success that she was able to do there at a program that was okay, but hadn't really experienced that level of success prior to her getting there?
It's a great question. And I think the one thing I do want to point out, through all of those accolades that she's gotten, the year before she came in, you said 12-18 record. The next year they were 24-7. So they doubled their win total. This is a team that in a program that is not used to success. And she came in and she made them used to that. And a lot of that was because she had insanely high expectations for this team. She's a fantastic coach. Obviously, she learned from one of the best in John Cook, but she does a really good job building a group around her that can get the most out of their players. So she's had a few people on staff her entire time at Louisville. One of those is now the new Louisville head coach, Dan Meskey, who is one of the best assistants in the entire country. He knows volleyball technically wise. and fundamentally wise, and I think better than potentially anyone in the country. She did such a great job building her staff to where they could get the most out of the players, where they could relate to them. She's such an easy coach to play for because she pushes you, but she also is very friendly and welcoming and has a really fun environment in her gym. Anytime you go to a Louisville practice over the last 2 years, those girls are having fun. I think it's the most competitive gym in the country. Just the way that those girls are built, they've got, something else. It's that look in their eye that, when they step on the court, it's something different. And she's able to get the most out of her players. And that's why I think they've been able to make that switch and to turn Louisville into the volleyball powerhouse it is. So I will say, too, for the fact that, of course, she's from Nebraska, played at Nebraska, coached there, all of that. Honestly, regardless of all the Nebraska ties, I do think Danny Busboom-Kelly would have been the perfect person for this job because she's been able to build up a program and have sustained success there. It's just a massive added bonus that, of course, she has all these Nebraska ties, making her the even more perfect person for this job.
I think that makes a whole lot of sense, and I completely agree with that. She got the Nebraska ties, but outside of that, you look at what she did at Louisville, it just makes so much sense on so many fronts. Nebraska's had the #1 recruiting class, volleyball-wise, the past 2 years in a row. You bring in what would have been the top candidate in the country to come home, all right, home for Danny Busboom-Kelly to be our next volleyball coach. What do you think Nebraska volleyball fans should look forward to and expect next volleyball season?
Yeah, I think a lot of times when you have a new coach, some people maybe expect a little bit of a drop-off just because it's a new system implemented. You're still getting used to everything. Honestly, I would expect this team to pick up right where they left off. And one of the reasons why Coach Cook felt like he wanted to retire right now was because he feels like Nebraska is in the best spot that it's ever been. With the group that he has, the group that's coming back, some of the pieces that he brought back into the program, he wanted to leave this program in a place where he felt like the person taking it over could pick up right where he left off. And I completely think that that's going to be the case. This is a team coming off of back-to-back Big Ten titles, coming off of a Final Four berth last season. I think this program is going to pick up right there. And to be completely honest, with the talent that they have and the talent that I'm seeing across the country right now at other programs, I would be completely shocked if Nebraska didn't at least make a Final Four, if not go on to the national championship match.
All right, let's say Nebraska makes the Final Four next year. Who do you predict and project as we sit here? It was February now, I almost said January. Sit here in February. Who are the other 3 teams? Is it Pitt, Louisville, Penn State? Who do you predict in this way too early stage will be the other 3 teams?
Oh my gosh. Well, I love that you asked this because we're so many months away, but I still, these things are stuff that the volleyball community is talking about all the time. I would say right now, I think Wisconsin's in a pretty good place to make there. And that might sound pretty crazy considering they lost most of their starting lineup. But for the people that Wisconsin brought in, I think the transfers, the really big names like Mimi Collier, Grace Lopez, they have incredible people coming into that program, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them there. I would say Pitt, just because I think they have the best player in the country, and Dan Fisher knows how to get the best out of his players, whether or not they've been on the court for the past few seasons. I wouldn't be shocked to see them there. And then I'm never shocked to see Texas there, so I'll throw in Texas as well because of the people that they've brought in, and they brought in some really big name transfers too.
All right, so you don't just cover volleyball. You've also covered multiple college football playoff games, the Women's College World Series, and much more. So I got 2 more questions for you. One's about the college football playoff. Do you think year 1, the 12-team college football playoff, would you consider it a success?
Oh God. I mean, I feel like everyone has the same thought about this. Like, it was so great that we had more matchups and more games. And obviously, yes, some of them were blowouts. Fine. Maybe that didn't look the best. But I think in general, I would say it's a success because we got to see different matchups and teams somewhat be tested. Obviously, I don't think anyone expected Notre Dame to make it all the way. But I will say, of course, as the sentiment seems to be for everyone, like, they got to figure out the seeding better. There is no reason why teams have an easier path than the number 1 seed. So I think you do it the same way that we do in literally every other sport for the tournament, and seed everything outright.
All right, last question. The Women's College World Series. Nebraska preseason ranked number 21 in the country. Jordy Ball is back. healthy. She's raring to go. She's obviously two-time All-American, won a couple of championships already. Do you believe Nebraska, I almost said volleyball, but Nebraska softball, not can, because anybody can, will make the College World Series this year?
Honestly, yeah. I feel like it's time. I think when you have a player like Jordy Ball, when she's healthy and ready as she looks, I think that can take your team even further. Obviously, they're opening up with incredibly high expectations as a program. And I don't want to say solely because of her, because they have multiple other great players. But yeah, I would say they will. I think it would be awesome for the sport. I think it'd be awesome for Nebraska. And I think everyone would love to see Jordy Ball in the Women's College World Series.
All right, Emily, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
If you're sick of catering from the same places every month, it's time to switch things up. Mulberry Barbecue is perfect for business lunches and dinners, family gatherings, holiday parties, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, and so much more. Delivery and full service options are available, and they can cater for anything from 10 people to 500 people. Call them at 402-937-7114 to hear their menu options and get your catering booked today. Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, Nottingham Forest plays Brighton at 6:30 a.m., followed by Newcastle versus Fulham at 9 a.m. To cap off the Saturday action, Wolves plays Aston Villa at 11:30 a.m. On Sunday, Man United plays Crystal Palace at 8 a.m., followed by Arsenal versus Man City at 10:30 a.m. You can find all this and more at McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket, your place for English Premier League soccer, located at 8th and P.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's hard to choose a favorite at Hog Wild, but I'd have to say it's their award-winning ribs. Hog Wild buys their meat from those who share their high-quality standards, then hand rubs each slab with their famous seasoning blend and slow smokes them over hickory each and every day for flavor and tenderness you're gonna keep coming back for. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, will treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 7th and Van Doren. God bless you.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes, feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Every day, grab your lunch. Come join us. As you know, you're going to hear Husker sports, college football, sports in general. You're going to get unique insights, unbridled honesty, and producer Jake and I are going to have a whole lot of fun in the process. This show, check it out on theticketfm.com, the social medias, etc. Also, CarrikerChronicles.com and YouTube. Type in Carriker Chronicles. Let's get to the text line. Jake, each and every day we have more time to interact with the listeners, the texters, the callers. What do we got from the text line there today, Jake?
Yeah, a few questions in here. One is, hey, Adam, what do you expect from the softball and baseball team this year? So expectations for softball and baseball.
Well, per Emily, we should be in the College World Series for softball. I mean, here's what I'll tell you. We're preseason ranked 21st in softball, preseason 24th in baseball. In baseball, we're returning a lot of starters. Probably the most veteran-laden team in the Big Ten Conference. The only team in the Big Ten that's ranked ahead of us is Oregon. Now, baseball is the one sport, if you look at the top 25, it's Southern team. It just is. It's Southern teams. I grew up playing baseball. My kid plays baseball. My kids played softball. It is easier to play more baseball when it's warm outside. So that is an advantage that the Southern teams have. Unlike in football, where I don't want to hear that nonsensical BS bull crap. You're not the NFL, a jack squat, except your own little bubble like-minded head. What do you think my thoughts are on football there, Jake? But when it comes to baseball and softball, they do have an edge. They do get to play more year-round. So in the top 25, the only Big Ten teams for baseball are Oregon and Nebraska. And Nebraska won the Big Ten tournament championship last year. Okay, you can record that and send it to everybody in the South, by the way. I stand by those words. All right. I don't know if James Williams stands by his words, but I stand by my words. I will do a promo battle with anybody, anytime, anywhere. All right, but I digress. Let's get back to the topic at hand. I believe Nebraska should be in the conversation or the championship game of the Big Ten tournament again, if not win it. They have the potential to make a postseason run, get to a super regional, possibly the College World Series. When you look at the softball team, I will tell you right now, the pitcher on a softball team is like the quarterback on a football team in the aspect of it is unequivocally the most important position on the field, and I'll tell you why. Because in a baseball game, the pitcher is the most important position on the field, but you can't pitch as much. The quarterback is there every day. A softball pitcher, the underhanded motion, you can throw so many more pitches and your arm doesn't get bothered by it. This blew my mind. Being a pitcher growing up, when my daughter started pitching, I couldn't believe she could just pitch game after game after game. It was like, what? My arm would have fallen off if I was a baseball had I done this in baseball. In softball, Jordy Ball, maybe, okay, she's healthy. She says she's fresh. She almost needed a break if you listened to her press conference last weekend. All right. Maybe the best player in America at the most important position. And we got a pretty good team around her. I'm curious to see how everyone else gels, how she gels with everybody now that she gets the chance to actually perform with the team consistently, week in and week out. But the baseball team should absolutely be in the Big Ten championship conversation, if not potentially win it again with all the starters and returning experience we have back. And you just heard Emily. She said, yeah, I expect Nebraska softball. It's not a guarantee, to be clear. But there's going to be a lot of people who are like, yes, College World Series is very reasonable for them. What do you think, Jake? Any thoughts? You didn't know I was going to go on that whole diatribe because I literally just sat here and said, I am not as up to speed on baseball and softball as these other sports. So apparently I've been following it a little bit more than I even realized. But what are your thoughts on all that, Jake?
No, I'm in the same boat as you, so I'm glad you took most of the time to talk about it.
Well, for me, just knowing how good Jordy is and coming back from injury, you never know. But again, I think she's had plenty of time. She seems to be full go. The most important position You don't have to take like 3-4 days off in between. You're a relief pitcher. Maybe you can throw 2 or 3 innings. You can do that a couple days in a row, but then you need a break as a baseball pitcher. Like, they got more than one pitcher. They got more than one player on that softball team. But it's like the quarterback. A football team, in large part, as much as any other one position on the team, will come and go as the quarterback goes. He needs time. He needs a run game. You got to play defense. You got to block. You got to not get your kicks blocked. But on softball, obviously, you got to hit, bunt, run, score, play defense, all these things. But knowing that we have a centerpiece at the most important position, what are your thoughts on softball and potentially making a postseason run?
Yeah, I mean, Jordy Ball is obviously, and I did see that. I mean, you sent that to me over the weekend, feeling like, it was a break that maybe she needed, but wasn't going to take herself. That can be huge. But I'm with you too. I mean, I watching the softball, like looking up stats, that always kind of blew my mind. It's like, okay, the pitcher, can sit in there and pitch most of the game. So, and her ERA is incredible, and so that's gonna keep you in any game, almost regardless of what kind of talent you have on the offensive side. But Nebraska has some swingers as well.
I did send you that. I sent you about 4 clips recently, and I kind of forgot what all ones I had sent you. I knew I wanted to go over James Williams today. Let's play that Jordy Ball one tomorrow. I've still got the Shaq one we're going to roll out at some point. And there's a 4th one in there somewhere. I'll go back and see what it is, but we will get to that one throughout the week as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been real. It's been fun. Have a great week. Have a glorious Monday. And until next time, go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the ball. I ain't good on time.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus,